In this Cricut tutorial for beginners, I am showing you how you can quickly and easily create a 3D layered mandala just in time for Valentine's Day. So let's get crafty. Hey, I'm Michael from the Mr. Crafty Pants YouTube channel, where I show you the best ways to use your Cricut cutting machine every single week. But today I'm over here on the Design Bundles YouTube channel because, well, we have partnered up to bring you all another Cricut tutorial that is perfect for Cricut beginners. So be sure that you all stay tuned until the very end of today's episode because y'all do not want to miss out on a single Cricut minute. Now, I cannot even begin to tell you all how many times I've been requested to do a tutorial on this exact topic, on how to create a 3D layered mandala out of cardstock. And I figured right now, just in time for Valentine's Day, is the perfect time to do it. So let's get into it. Now, for starters, we are obviously going to need a cutting machine, right? Now, y'all know that I specialize in Cricut cutting machines, but truth be told, you all can do this project with any type of cutting machine as long as it works with SVG cut files. We are also going to need some cardstock, and I'm using this cardstock right here from Joann's. I believe this is the Park Lane brand, and this is the 80-pound cardstock. Now, I would say that anything above 65-pound cardstock will do the trick for this. However, I am using the 80-pound. We are also going to need a way to actually adhere our different layers together, right? Now, you can use glue for this, or like more of like a puffy style glue would actually work a little bit better, but I'm actually using these little foam dots right here. There is actually an adhesive on both sides of these dots, which in my opinion is perfect for layering these layers of cardstock. Now, we are obviously going to need a place to display all this at, right? And this part is optional, but I am using this little shadow box right here from IKEA. But truth be told, you all can do this on pretty much anything, and you can actually even do this 3D layered cardstock mandala and actually use it as a front for a card, or, I mean, really, the sky's the limit. And last, but definitely not least, because this is where all the magic really comes into play, is an SVG cut file. So I'm getting mine from designbundles.net. So let's hop over there and I'll show you which one I'm getting. All right, so this file right here is what we are going with. It is a 3-layer design, which in my opinion makes this absolutely perfect for beginners. It's not too much where it's gonna be overwhelming, but it's also just enough to actually give it a really cool layered look as well. Now, at the time of filming this is marked down from $5 to $3.75. Per usual, I cannot make any promises of what this price is gonna be by the time that you all are watching this video, and by the time that you actually go and check out this SVG for yourself, but that is what the price is as of right now. Now, to purchase this, all you would need to do is select add to cart, and then you can even click this button again to check out. And here is our file right now. This is the checkout page. I'm gonna click right here on continue to payment. Now, what I absolutely love about Design Bundles is they give you multiple ways to actually check out. So one of those ways is using store credit. Now, whenever you do use store credit, you actually get a 10% off discount, which, I mean, what more could you ask for? That's insanely good. Like, and I just love that all the way around. You could also check out with PayPal or just with a debit card or credit card as well. Now, I've actually already purchased this file, so what I need to do is come back over here to the home page, and right up here towards the top of the screen, I just need to hover right over where my name is. And then once you do that, just come right down here and select purchases. So basically every purchase that I have ever made with designbundles.net is on this page right here. And I can even come up here towards the top and actually do a search for my purchases. So if I wanted to look at all the Valentine's Day purchases, all I have to do is type in here Valentine. And there we go. So they will actually hold on to all these files for you forever. So if 10 years from now, you're wanting to come back and redo this SVG cut file, all you have to do is come over to this page and then just do a search for Valentine or Valentines, and you'll find this SVG cut file in your purchases, which is just all around amazing. So for me to actually download this, I'm gonna come over here to the right-hand side of where this file is and select download files. And once you do that, you'll see this little zip file right here appear. And so all you have to do is select that. All right, so I'm using Chrome as my browser. So my SVG cut file appeared right here at the bottom left-hand side of the page. However, if you are not using Chrome as your browser, all you need to do is just find your downloads folder and your SVG cut file will be sitting there waiting on you. Now, I am going to actually just click right here on my zip file. And since I am using a Mac, it will go ahead and unzip that zip file for me, which is totally necessary. You have to unzip your zip file before you can actually upload this into your Cricut Design Space software or even Silhouette Studio. So as you can see right here, here is my file. Now, if you are using a PC, all you need to do is open up that zip file and then select Extract All. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is come over here to Cricut Design Space and then come over here to the left-hand side of the page and click on Upload. And then I'm gonna come right over here and select Upload Image. And then I'm gonna select Browse. And here's my file right here. So I'm gonna select that and then come right over here and select SVG because we are wanting to use the SVG cut file. And I'm gonna select this file right here, this SVG file. And here is our file right here on the upload page. Now I am gonna go ahead and change the name of this to Vintage Truck 3D Mandala Valentine. There we go. Now I'm gonna come down here towards the bottom right-hand corner and select Save. And here's our file right here in the recently uploaded images. So I'm gonna go ahead and select that and then come down here towards the bottom right-hand corner and select Insert Images. And all right, so here is our SVG cut file right here on our Cricut Design Space canvas. So the first thing I want to do is actually resize this to actually fit inside of our shadow box right here. Now, lucky for us, it does tell us exactly how big the inside of the shadow box is, and it is saying 9 3/4 of an inch by 9 3/4 of an inch. So I am obviously going to create a template so I can actually resize my design perfectly for the shadow box. So to do that, I'm coming over here to the left-hand side of the page and I'm going to click on Shapes. And I'm going to open up a square. Now the color of the square does not amount to a hill of beans. However, if you want it to actually resemble what it's going to look like in real life, we can come up here towards the top left-hand side of the page, click on this little color swatch, and then select white, just like so. Now to actually resize this to where it needs to be, I'm gonna come up here towards the top of the canvas again, this time right here towards the center where it says size. And since this little padlock is locked, it's gonna keep those proportions locked in as well. So I'm gonna clear out the numbers next to width. And for 9 3/4 of an inch, I'm just gonna type in here 9.75, hit enter. And since that padlock is locked, it went ahead and resized that height to be 9 3/4 of an inch as well. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is actually right click our template and then select Send to Back. Now if our white template is kind of throwing you off with the white background of the Design Space canvas, what you can actually do is come down here towards the bottom right hand side of the page, right here where it says Blank Canvas, and then up here at the top of the canvas, we can actually change the color. So for this, let's go ahead and just change it to this gray color, like so. Now that white grid is looking a little busy on that gray background, so what we can do is come up here towards the top left-hand side of the page, right here where these two little rulers are. Inside this little square right here, we can just click that, just like so, and basically turn those off. All right, so now what I'm wanting to do is grab our little truck here, and let's go ahead and grab this little resize handle right here at the bottom right-hand side of this truck, and then just bring that inwards like so to shrink this down some. And let me shrink that down just a little bit more, actually. Now this part is all about personal preference. You just have to do whatever you think is going to look best for your particular project. All right, so I'm really liking that right there. I think it kind of fills out that square nicely. And I'm actually going to keep this template this time around because, well, the background of this shadow box right here from IKEA has this little section right here where you can actually put in an actual photo. However, I just want to make sure that we can't see that behind our vintage truck here. So what I'm going to do is actually cut out this white template on white cardstock and actually use that as the background of our shadow box. So what I'm going to do now is come up here towards the top right hand side of the page and click Make It. And here is all of our mats, all 4 mats. Now, again, I'm just using a 3-layer design just because I want this to be more beginner friendly, and I also don't want it to be too overwhelming for any of you guys out there. However, if y'all are feeling adventurous and want to do a 5, 6, 10, 12 layered SVG mandala, by all means, go for it. I mean, the sky's the limit, really. So what I'm going to do now is just come down here towards the bottom right-hand side of the page and click Continue. Now again, I am using this cardstock right here, which is 80-pound cardstock. So what I'm going to do is just come right over here and select this option for medium cardstock, 80 pounds. Now if you don't see this option right here, all you have to do is come right over here and select Browse All Materials like so. And then you can just do a search for cardstock. And then just select that option right there. Now, if you are using a Cricut Explorer device, all you need to do is just turn your dial over to custom, and then you'll have all these same options as well. Now, another thing I want y'all to pay attention to is all these layers over here on the left-hand side of the page. Now, this right here is our main background image. So that is like this light pink. This is like the middle layer, and then this is the top layer. Now, I'm not actually going to be using the same exact color scheme. Instead, I'm going to be using these shades of red and this pink right here. And I can just cut those out accordingly wherever I want those to actually be stacked in our layered mandala. Now, another really quick thing to note is that I'm actually using this light grip blue cutting mat right here. I do recommend using this for cardstock or a standard grip cutting mat that has just been through the ringer and just does not have nearly as much of a tack or stickiness to it as what it once did. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and load these into our Cricut and get started cutting. Now I know that I always recommend flipping the mat over and then peeling the mat away from the material instead of the other way around, but I really believe that that is most important whenever you're cutting out paper products like this one right here. If you're not careful, it is very, very easy to curl these really, really bad. So I'm just flipping it over and then peeling the mat away from the cardstock in this case instead of the other way around. All right, so now by just taking a look over here at our cut screen, you can see that the next layer that's gonna be cut out is this back layer right here. So for that layer, I'm actually gonna be cutting that out on this pink right here. Now we can see from the screen right here that this is the next one that is set to be cut out because, well, it is highlighted in this white right here. And for that layer, I'm wanting to go with this medium red color right here. All right, so this layer has tons of detail in it, so we have to be extremely careful whenever we're actually peeling this off of our cutting mat. So again, per usual, flipping the mat over and then peeling the mat away from everything, but just take it slow, be careful, and just pay attention to all the little details inside of this little design. And I'm actually going to use one of my scraper tools from Cricut, this guy right here, to actually help me out with this just a little bit. And with this, whenever you're trying to remove all these little bits and bobs from the design itself, just try to very, very carefully kind of twist or bend at it just a little bit, just see if you can get any of those little pieces to pop out. And for our last layer, I am using this deeper shade of red. All right, so I feel like I made a little bit of a bad decision as far as which colors I put on each layer. So this is the way that it cut out, just like this right here, which I can assure you, it looks better on camera than it does in real life. But I'm just not loving it, so I went ahead and cut it out again off camera, but this time around I used a different color for 2 of the layers. And this is how it looks now, like this right here. Now this obviously all comes down to personal preference, so do whatever you think is gonna look best for your particular project. But what I'm gonna do now is actually go ahead and start layering these. So again, I'm grabbing these little foam dots right here. These have a dual side adhesive, and these just all around work out great for this particular type of project. So I'm just grabbing off one of these little dots like so, and I'm actually just gonna start applying these to the back side of the top layer. All right, so once you think you have enough dots on here, you can actually go through here and peel off the other side of this little foam dot, just like so. All right, so now I'm gonna take that top layer and then apply it to that middle layer. All right, so now I'm just gonna flip this over and apply some foam dots to the back of this one as well, except for this time around, I'm actually gonna be using some bigger foam dots. And now I'm just gonna layer this on top of our base layer right here. Now this particular file actually gave us these 2 little extra balloon pieces where we can basically go in here and add them to this little cluster of balloons back here to give it more of like a 3-dimensional effect. All right, so now we just need to apply those foam dots to the back of our design. All right, so now I'm just gonna set this off to the side for just a quick second and grab our shadow box. Now this normally does have a glass covering that goes over top of this, but I did go ahead and take that out just because I didn't want any glare on camera. But what I'm gonna do now is actually flip this over and remove the back of this. Now I'm actually gonna take this right here and actually cover it up with that piece of cardstock that we cut out earlier. And then place this face first down into this frame. And then put this back on. Now all we really need to do is just apply our 3D layered mandala. Now, if you all like today's episode, or if you learned something new, it would honestly mean the world to us and help us out so much here on YouTube if you just took 2 seconds to stamp that like button, as well as drop a comment down in the comment section below. Also, while you're at it, if you are new around here to the Design Bundles YouTube channel, well then you may want to consider stamping that subscribe button and ringing that little bell for all the notifications, because they put out new crafty content every single day, and you do not want to miss out on a single crafty minute. I promise you that. Thank you all so much for watching today's episode. It truly does mean the absolute world to us, and until next time, stay crafty.